We're here with Francesca Harper at the Dance of Harlem, and she has been commissioned to set a work, Fractured Beauty, for the Harlem Works 2.0 series. Francesca, I've seen some of your process, and that's more what I want to talk about. Because to invite, and I'm so honored, a choreographer and to watch another choreographer's work, what you really see at this stage is how you put it together. And I think that's so important. So I wanted to share with our audience that process.
How I put it together, let's see. Well, it's shifting all the time. I started with dialoguing with a composer and sharing some of my ideas. Well, I lost my mother to cancer last year, and I feel like I've been grieving, so I wanted to make a piece about the grief. So I started by talking with the composer and giving him my experience, also images, and some of my mother, some thoughts and some ideas of what my mother had gone through. So I shared that with him, and he came back and responded with 3 movements of music. He also used his spirituality to respond and create these 3 pieces. So I then took my dancers in the studio with these ideas and took some of his melodies and created some work. And then he looked at my videos. I emailed him the videos back and forth, and he came back with kind of edits and reorganized the music. And we just started dialoguing from there. So it was a constant kind of conversation between the composers, the dancers, and myself, and just a constant exchange of ideas.
Well, you know what I've noticed, and I mentioned this to you. It looks like, to me, you're almost working like a sculptor. You're chipping away what doesn't need to be there.
That's exactly it.
You know, and it's beautiful to see people work like that. You're not coming in dictatorial with movement.
No.
So when you talk about the collaborative process you had with the composer, I also see you're doing that with the dancers.
Absolutely. Well, I came in, I actually started with a theme that resonated with me, a movement phrase. And I taught the phrase to them, and then I asked them to respond and create their own works in response to the phrase. So then I started seeing how the phrases inspired me, and then started piecing together things. Also, when I dream or when I visualize and really let my subconscious go, sometimes I have these really clear visuals. As you know, as a choreographer, being a choreographer who I've also worked for Walter, who's a fabulous choreographer. I did, really. So I know you know what I'm talking about. Right. Sometimes you just get these really clear images. So I was just also letting myself have choreographic images influence me, and then bringing those ideas as I would kind of go home and dream and come back to the studio. I'd bring those ideas back to the studio and then see how it responded that day with those dancers in the room, and how, and just continued to also really focus on having everyone in the room stay connected and also inspired. So that was also, with my story of, what I went through with my grief, the constant connection to the music and the moment and what vocabulary we were dealing with in the moment. That's how the piece started developing. And you're right. Initially, I had 10,000 ideas, and I think it was missing this thread. But what I realized is that talking about grief is so painful that what I was doing was actually doing what I could manage, putting out there what I could manage dealing with, and then having the dancers help me also get to what I was really trying to say, because it was so painful. So it's actually, I ended up, talking and collaborating with the dancers. They actually helped me get clearer about my grief. And that's why it keeps chipping away, because I've now become clearer with their aid. And it's a very intense process. But yeah, it's been very enlightening in that way.
And when you see artists who are honest enough to share that or put themselves, there's a place that you're going by doing that. And you're saying to the audience, this is where I was, this is where I am, and this is where I hope to be, or however that fits together for you. There's a certain amount of courage in that.
Well, it's very funny you said that, because I am realizing that that is, we were working on the second movement, which is very minimalistic and dark, and I was saying what I was missing today was the courage. The courage it takes when you are depressed or when you're sad, that courage that you have to keep on going, or that courage that the effort to find happiness, or, you know, kind of push yourself into getting up and getting out of the house. You know, so
Yes.
that's what I was also missing. That courage is actually what I was hoping for. You know, the key to the rebirth through my grief is the courage, the actual human courage that you have to fight off sadness and depression and give yourself permission to really live again.